for it, how corrupt it is.
I'll come back to you. A series of good points there. Shoaib, I'll lob it over into your direction right now. Do you not think that if the vast majority of the British public were asked to vote on this, they would vote to leave a foreign court that can have any say over our legal system whatsoever?
I don't know if they would, but I don't think necessarily we should go to them anyway.
Why not? Just in case they make the right decision.
It's wrong if we were to try to leave the ECHR, and even if we were, that's not, is that really what we want to be asking the public about? I don't think it is. If you're abolishing slavery, do you say, let's see what the majority thinks? If women should have the vote, let's see what the majority thinks? I think that's backward and perverse. So I think if it's very, very fundamental human rights, universality of human rights, everyone should have the right to life, the right not to be tortured, right to family life, right to education. I don't think that's something that should even be questioned. And obviously, if we're going to go into conspiracy theories, but, judges are compromised and the industry is corrupt and why do we have lawyers and stuff, then obviously that's a different thing. I don't think that's a particularly educated or informed debate anyway. But other than that, if we're actually talking about the facts, I don't think we should leave. And even if we do, yes, have a debate about it, I don't think it's a matter of let's go and let's see what the majority say.
But this is what I don't understand. Anyway, Maya, I'll come back to you on that show because there's a lot to get stuck into there. Maya, I mean, to me, this sounds a little bit like what Macron would say. I won't give the French a vote on the EU because they'd vote to leave.
Yeah, I'm glad. Firstly, thanks for having me. I'm glad I'm in the middle because, first, I'm not surprised that human rights lawyer is against democracy. That makes sense. Secondly, I'm against referendums as a whole, unless it's basically a fundamental constitutional issue where it's a kind of deadlock. And on this issue, actually, we probably won't even need to have one. And if we have to do it, that means Boris Johnson's government is in trouble. Because at this point, there will be enough consensus. It's a sort of thing that you could just do based on policy. And we would be needing a referendum if Boris Johnson's government refuse or be scared enough not to actually do it. But my position is obviously you have to kind of leave it because my main problem with it is the fact that, and actually, and a lot of people on the other side mentioned this throughout the last few years, saying that because we founded it, or we basically were part of the founders, then that means that we should stay. I'm like, but because of that, we don't have to stay because we introduced these values to Europe. We were the ones who basically told them, let's be more civilized and let's go with our justice system and our values. So we don't actually need to be in it because we will continue our values.
OK, all right, Cathy, I'll come back to you. One of the arguments would be, which I suspect, Shoaib, I'll let you come back to it, Shoaib, don't worry, but was alluding to there, was that human rights in this country would be diminished if we left the ECHR. Would our human rights get worse? Cathy?
No, of course not. Anyway,
sorry, Cathy first.
It's a bizarre concept. I mean, there isn't such a thing as universal human rights. I do not have a right to live in any country around the world, and not anybody has a right to live in this country. I mean, this undermines national sovereignty, it undermines borders, and that's the basis of democracy. So we have this bizarre situation that this supposed court of human rights is undermining an accountable system of law in this country that's democratic and accountable.